and that's me at the back, and that's the back. So the lovely, fantastic graphic, and very good. It's got a very good look and feel, the cover. And thanks to Sohail Mathur and his team at the Book Bakers. So that's the book.
Yes. Special thanks to Sohail Mathur, once again Locksley Hall Publishing and the Book Bakers. So we can jump into the Q&A session. The first question obviously goes to Seema ma'am. If you can give us a brief about your book and what is so special about the Vishnupuran.
Okay. So the Vishnupuran, as we call it, is one of the Maha Purans. A Maha Puran is a core Puran. We have 18 major Purans. Now, why does a book, become a Maha Puran? Because, or what qualifies, how does it qualify to become one? It should have the structure, the full-fledged structure of a Puran. So, Vishnupuran is a very special Puran because it's a composite compendium of all the elements, which are required to make a full Puran. For instance, it will have, laid out and described how the universe was created, how it will be reabsorbed or dissolved, or how it will end. It will have a whole lot of genealogies on the two major dynasties in ancient India, the Suryavanshis and the Chandravanshis. It will have a lot of historical anecdotes on various profiles and personalities, sages and kings. And it will have, it will talk about time. It's very interesting. The whole concept of time will be discussed. The units of time will be discussed. And which is, finally they talk in terms of manvantars. So the Vishnu Puran or a Puran is a very special piece in the Vedic literature, especially Vishnu Puran, because it is, it's got some very highlighting things, highlighting features like, it balances out the view that, Shiva is more important than Vishnu or Brahma is less important than somebody. This is one Puran where equal importance is given to all, to the entire Holy Trinity, to all three of them. It's also special because, in a very humorous way, a very serious topic like non-duality or Advait is explained. So, and it's also again a very special book because it has got a lot of sci-fi kind of elements, a lot of jaw-dropping moments. So it's a very special book, and a Puran is technically a link between the Veds and the people at large. So Vishnupuran fulfills that purpose of being a fifth Veda. So I think that's what's special about the book.
Yes, indeed, it is really special for all of us. So let's go to Antara. What is the best part about the book? And according to you, is this a religious book for you or a spiritual one or something else? If you can put some light on this, if you can tell us your point of view.
Sure, Desmond. Thank you for your question. First of all, if you ask me about the best part of the book, for me, it's about, the book has a comprehensive history of Krishna. I'd call it a history of Krishna instead of just telling it as a story of Krishna. Because, there's so many aspects, there's so many incidents that we generally don't know. We don't see in the popular movies or TV shows or in, popular commercial books and all about Lord Krishna, about his life, about his many deeds and actions. And here, in fact, though, a very wonderful part is, that Seema ji, she has, talked about the various names, the various, ways we address Lord Krishna and the various meanings that are attached to his name. So that's for me the best part of it. And I personally feel very aligned to the customs, traditions and philosophies endorsed by Lord Krishna. So that would be my favorite part. And for me, this book, in fact, any kind of book that is set with the religious pretense to it, I find it something that is more of a self-help kind of a thing, especially in today's era, something that helps us, enhance our personality or, become better people. We become spiritually more awake. So that kind of a book is the Mahavishnu Purana. Here we have seen so many incidents. The book talks about so many things that happen in Hindu mythology. For example, Seema has talked about the Samudra Manthan incident. And now the Samudra Manthan incident, we all know that where the Devas and Asuras, they, together churn the ocean, and from there many elements, many things, even the planets and even mythical, creatures like Airavat, and even goddess Lakshmi emerged out of it. But, although this kind of things are a story, but we get many valuable lessons from it. If we think deep down, if we introspect about those incidents, and if we question ourselves that what can we learn out of those? There's so many things to learn. For example, the Samudra Manthan tells us that often for greater deeds and for the greater good, we often have to join hands with our arch rivals or our nemesis, and we have to work together to, achieve something. That is what happened, right? The Devas and the Asuras together taking part in Samudra Manthan. Then secondly, we all know the incident where Lord Vishnu took the roop of Mohini, and then she tried to distract the Asuras so that they could not have the Amrit. So here we understand that when we are having some sort of success and when we're having a goal in front of us, it becomes very imperative that we don't lose our focus, right? That was the main reason why the Asuras were distracted. They lost their focus and they lost Amrita. At the same time, we also see that the first thing that comes out of Samudra Manthan is the halahal, the poison that Lord Shiva took. And this also tells us that whenever we are doing something good, the first thing or the first few layers would be something negative in it. And we as people have to build ourselves in a way in such a capacity that we can, take that negative thing inside us and keep it with us and turn it into something positive. So this is just one example. There's so many things in this book. It's a so comprehensive book, and I absolutely loved how every incident has been covered here. Almost all the avatars of Lord Vishnu has been told here, and it also puts a very nice elucidation that why Lord Vishnu is the preserver and how he preserves the entire universe, the entire creation. And at the same time, as Seema ji mentioned, it talks about some innovative concepts like, how we measured time in the past. And at the same time, they talk a bit about, astrology and the planetary positions and how it affects the mind. So it has got a scientific approach to it as well. So yeah, although, this is indeed a religious book, it has got much of its spirituality in it, and at the same time it's a very practical hand guide for many things that would be helpful in our day-to-day life. And I really wish to read this book completely. I haven't read it completely, but I know the gist of it, and I have been in talks with Seema ji and have discussed the book at great length. And I'm really excited and really thrilled that very soon I'll be picking up this book and reading it entirely. And Seema ji, congratulations for having your book launch today, and it's a great work done.
Thank you, Antar. I just got lost in what you were saying. You've spoken so beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think your Samudra Manthan analogy was fantastic. I loved it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We hope that Antar reads the book very soon. And
absolutely.
Yes, we hope. And whoever is watching, I will leave the link of this book in the description in the comments. So if you would also like to read this book, go click on the link and go buy the book. So now going to Lalitha ma'am, the question is to you. Being an author yourself, what is that one thing that drew you to read this book?
Thanks to Suhail and Seema ji for inviting me for this enlightening panel discussion. At the outset, I would like to congratulate you and Locksley Hall Publications for bringing out this wonderful book. Coming to the question, I have a huge fascination for mythology. The cover and title was enough to make me, want to lay my hands on this beautifully crafted book. The amount of research that has gone into this creation is mind-boggling. I wonder how much time and effort Seema ji has put into the research, how many hours, how many days, how many months, and how many years. I don't know. It's really mind-boggling. The translation of any literature is a big challenge. And translation of a literature of this magnitude of SHREE VISHNU MAHA PURAAN, it requires in-depth knowledge. It requires mastery over both the languages, that is Sanskrit and English in this case. And additionally, as an author, Seema ji has shouldered the responsibility of bringing out all the nuances, all the particular nuances from the original to the translated version to perfection. Hats off to you.
Thank you. You are like really now motivating me to start considering another Puran maybe. But thank you so much.
You should.
Hats off to Seema ji for taking on this challenge, and the result is there for all of you to see. I will hold up the book.
Yes.
It's
so sweet
beautiful.
of you.
And
Beautiful,
it's such
yes.
a huge volume, you know.
Yeah.
Almost 700 pages. And not only is it taking time to read, it is taking time to digest.
Oh.
Yeah. One of the reasons.
Wonderful research you have done.
Thank you. One of the reasons for being rejected a lot was that we can't handle 192,000 words. That's the volume.
That's true. I'm glad Locksley Hall took up this challenge of bringing out this book.
Suhail did not bat an eyelid. He didn't bat an eyelid. He said, yeah, just send me. That was a big difference.
Yeah.
Sohail is always the superhero for everyone. He's always helpful.
He is always the superhero.
Yes. So going to Seema ma'am, since we all know now this book is about 700 plus pages, can you tell us the process and how many years and what was the research behind this?
So years, it has taken me a lot of time. Frankly, you know, I have other responsibilities. Concurrently, I have other obligations, including professional and on the personal front. Therefore, this journey started in 2012-13 and it ended this September last year. That's when I clicked to that email at 5 o'clock in the morning and sent it off to, book bakers and Locksley Hall. So yeah, it's been a long journey because it's taken a lot of years in between. The research portion was very, very a joyous process, but very nerve-wracking at times, and also a challenge in every sense of the word. Just to give a little example, in one of the verses, because when you translate, you also cross-reference. You look at what other authors have said, and when you have your doubt, you go back. In this case, I must say I went back to Gita Press a lot, and they helped me a lot. I owe them this acknowledgement. But coming back to what I'm trying to say is that in one of the verses, one particular word, what treatment to give it, because it was just neither what is existing in vernacular nor what is already translated in English was gelling, and I lived with a doubt. Finally, I think I struggled with that just one word, not even a verse, one word for 7 days. And I remember sharing it on Facebook. I was exhausted. Do you know the meaning of that word? It's the hornbill, the bird, the hornbill.
Oh.
And just to make sure I got it right, I was stuck for 7 days. I wouldn't move. And you can imagine when an author is writing, you hear about those 1,000 pages per day. I would do one word in sometimes 7 days, 10 days, but then I would catch up somehow. So it was a very interesting process. You have to be a student to do it.
Yeah,
hats off. I think I'm still a student.
Hats off to whatever you did. That's why it's come out. It's a beautiful book right now. So let's go to Rasik sir. Let's go to the next question. The next question to Rasik sir is: what is the relevance of scriptures like Vishnupuran in today's time?
Thank you, Desmond, for the question, and thank you, Seema ji, for all of your hard work. And because sitting on the foundation of your hard work, we are all discussing about these wonderful topics about Lord Vishnu and the Vishnupuran. So really, I can also vouch for it that it is no joke to come up with this. It takes a lot of passion, it takes a lot of zeal, and heartfelt emotions for the subject to be able to spend so much of time and energy. And notwithstanding that like Seema was telling us that she actually went into deep into learning Sanskrit just because of this passion. So if we really have the zeal for something, we will not leave any stone unturned. So, and I am reminded of our Param Guru Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So at the age of 70, he started translating the Srimad Bhagavad Maha Puran. And like on his journey to the US, United States of America, he didn't have money for a flight ticket, so he went on a Jaladuta, which is a ship, a cargo ship, because he had this zeal and passion to spread this message, to spread the depths of this knowledge to the whole world. And that took him on that ship. He had 2 heart attacks, first journey of his life in a ship. He had 2 heart attacks on the journey, but that did not, put him down. He reached there, he didn't know whether to turn left or right, where to go. But he just, had these books. He said, my only solace was that I was having he had just written 1 volume of the Srimad Bhagavatam that time. So that 1 volume, he said, is enough for me to get the strength and inner courage to go and approach an unknown land. So that is the power of 1 volume of these, holy books. And then later on, he went on. Now you can see above me, there are so many volumes of books. So this is all, he wrote more than 44 volumes of books. And that he wrote at the age of 70, right? From between 70 and 80, he wrote all of these books. So I can see a glimpse of Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, that you have been blessed with such a zeal and such love for the Vedic tradition and these scriptures and these holy books. So really very grateful to you for making this great effort and journey. And coming back to Desmond's question regarding what is the relevance of these books, especially in today's day and age. And I really loved the way Antar described, from Samudra Manthan, there are so many lessons which could come out, right? Lord Shiva took that poison in his throat. So he didn't take it in, he didn't spit it out. So he just kept it at the throat, right? So similarly, if we hear some poisonous criticism about others, so one thing is we can spit it out, we can start speaking to others about it, or we can take it in, become negative. But Lord Shiva is showing us, just keep it at the kantha. Don't speak it to others, don't take that negativity in. So there are so many lessons. So therefore, the scriptures, we see every gadget comes with a user manual, right? You have it as a soft copy or a hard copy, you have a user manual with it. And that guides us how to use it properly. So now if we wonder, we have been given the most sophisticated of all gadgets, which is this human body. Now this is such a sophisticated gadget that it creates all the gadgets that we see around us. It has such potential. Wasn't the creator so intelligent to just leave us with a user manual? He is.
Yes.
Right? So the creator has given us the user manual in the form of these holy scriptures, the literatures, whether it is in the Vedic tradition, it is the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vishnu Mahaa Puran, all of these, the Vedas, Upanishads, or in the Christian tradition, it's the Bible, or in the Islamic tradition, it's the Quran. So these are the user manuals given to us, and they are written in different languages, but they are giving the message that, oh, look here, connect to God. Otherwise, we don't have a common connection with each other. We won't have that synergy. So that's what these books are. They are the user manuals for us. And looking at the Mahabharata, it says ahara nidra bhay maithunam cha samanya hetat pashubi naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko veshesha dharmena hina pashubi naranam, which says that 4 things are common between humans and animals: ahar, food; nidra, sleep; bhay, which means defense. Dog on the street is also defending. We also have submarines and S-400 defense systems, missile systems. We are also defending. They're doing with their teeth, we are doing it with missiles. And then maithunam, which is sex life. So this is common across humans and animals. But what separates humans from animals is dharma, the inquiry about the purpose of my life, purpose of our being, purpose of our existence. And that's where these books come in picture. They show us the mirror of who we actually are beyond our transient existence in this body. Before we came here, where were we? And after our death, where are we going to go? And while we are here, what choices should we make? So that is beautifully described in these books. And like in Seemaji's translation, like the section 1 of the Vishnu Mahaa Puran, it has so many wonderful stories of Prahlad, of Dhruva, which each one of them have very brilliant life lessons for us, like Dhruv's story. Now Dhruv is a 5-year-old child, and his father is King Uttanpad, and he has 2 wives, Suniti and Suruchi. Suruchi is beautiful, Suniti is intelligent, and she is a lady of very great character. So, but Uttanpad gets attached to Suruchi, who is beautiful, whose beauty is skin deep, but her character is not, beautiful. Whereas Suniti, she is not so beautiful, but her character has a lot of beauty. But Uttanpad, he is attached and attracted to Suruchi, but not to Suniti. So he neglects Suniti. So one day, Suruchi's son, Uttam, he comes and sits on the lap of Uttanapad. And little Dhruva, a 5-year-old child, little does he know about the Game of Thrones, right? That who is going to become the next king and all of those. He also just comes innocently and wants to sit on his father's lap. And then Suniti, his stepmother, Suruchi, his stepmother, he comes and just pushes him aside. She says that this is not the right of you or your mother. This is the right of my son. That the throne, you cannot touch the throne. And he just wanted some affection from his father, but he is completely taken aback, and he's crying, and he goes to his mother Suniti, and guess what Suniti tells him? She tells him, first thing, don't be envious of Suruchi or your stepbrother. Don't be envious of your stepmother or stepbrother. There will be discrimination, there will be injustices done in this world, but see them as results of your own karma coming to you, and don't become inimical or envious. And she gives him the secret formula, the success formula. She says, go and worship Lord Vishnu, and he can fulfill all your desires for affection, for kingdom. So in this short story, we can see that what we struggle with so much in today's time is something small happens, like in Mumbai, people quarrel for the half seat of the local train. Fight for a big throne of the whole world, kingdom of the world. Now here in Mumbai, people just fight, they are ready to kill each other for that half seat of the local train. Mm-hmm. So if we could practice this forgiveness, how much more our life and the lives of people around us could become more meaningful and selfless. So there's a lot, so you have to read the book, you have to read the Vishnu Maha Puran to get more of those insights for your personal life. So that's it.
Yes.
I would like to add a bit to this.
Please.
Very well explained by Rasikji. You see, all these Puranic stories, they deal with spiritual progression. So in some of them, the protagonist, he is fighting the outside elements. And in some, he is fighting the inner ripus, the Shadripu. So that is, so we are fighting in some we are fighting with the outside demons, in some we are countering the demons within ourselves. And eventually they succeed in their journeys with the help of God, whose form changes according to as per the sect. And the story ends with eulogy of gods. Now, this is the general theme. Now you see, these stories are not to be taken literally, as they're spiritual truths. And the concepts are metaphorical. But then if we see in our daily lives, we find several examples. For example, where you consider the case of Dasarath Majhi, who single-handedly, he cuts the mountain pass. So these are examples or a person, there is this forest man, this Jadav Payeng, known as the forest man of India. He single-handedly, he creates an entire reserve, ecological reserve. So these are the examples. In our modern times also we find such examples. Now the Purans, they teach us the spiritual truths, and we can relate them to our recent examples also. So there is also a need to upgrade our Purans so that we, through modern examples of determination, of hard work, of grit, of devotion, and it is necessary in these materialistic times to hold on to those old concepts which the Purans teach us. Moreover, you see, like the Upanishads are said to be the philosophical interpretation and extension of the Vedas, the Purans are the religious interpretation and the extension of the Vedas. Now, the concepts which are developed by Purans, I mean, like yoga, reincarnation, Brahman, karma, moksha. So all these Advaita, Dvaita, so all these analogies are given by the Purans. And the Purans, I mean, I would say they are basically case studies. The Puranic stories, they're case studies of all these spiritual truths and of all these concepts. So it is necessary that we go back to our roots and we learn from them and we use them to progress in our spiritual lives. So that is for example, the analogy of Dhruv that was given. Dhruv again faces discrimination. At the very age of 5, he is discriminated against. And yet, with a purpose in life, he does tapasya, progresses, and he achieves that. He becomes a lodestar. So that is to say, even if today we face discrimination in our lives, we face oppression, we face various evils, even then, if we are steadfast in our life, we have a goal and we purposely strive to achieve that goal, we can achieve it. That is what the Purans teach us, in my respectful opinion.
Well said, Pranab sir. And Rasik sir, I think so. Yeah, your mic is muted.
Yeah, Pranab, to add to that, yes, the Puranas have a metaphorical teachings, lessons that we derive, and also they are a historical fact also, because many of these stories, through archaeological excavations, they have been able to, for example, Dwarka has been proven that there was a city like this at the coast of Gujarat. So they have a historical and a metaphorical meaning to them. They are a historical reality also. And therefore Madhvacharya, in his commentary to Mahabharata, he says that any Purana or scripture has understanding at 3 levels: Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, and Adhyatmik. So Adi Bhautik is historical facts. So these are historical facts 5,000 years ago, 1 lakh years ago. Historical facts are there. Adi Daivik is looking at from a celestial perspective. So they give us a celestial perspective of things beyond the earth that we have here, like we humans. Beyond this, there are other higher denizens, like we have UFOs coming. There's talk about that. So the Puranas confirm that. And then there's an Adhyatmic perspective, which is a metaphorical perspective, that what can I learn from the story of Dhruva, from the story of Prahlad, which happened lakhs of years ago. So Madhvacharya says that while reading any Puran, one can actually see it from these 3 lines simultaneously, and that's why it brings out such various types of fresh meanings when we go through them. So just sorry for the interjection, but I thought this comment of Madhvacharya would add value here.
No, very well said. Obviously, because Purans also reflect the periodicity of times. Like Vedas are eternal, Puran is periodical. So over a period of time, Purans are subject to change also. So what Purans reflect are the reflections of that period, of a particular period, and it further can be added to. What I'm saying is that it can be what has already been said. We have that knowledge in store, and we progress further into the modern times with that knowledge, and we add to it.
Absolutely. I would like to add something here, endorsing both of your thoughts here. What's necessary right now is to come up with these kind of contents from our spiritual text, which has relevance and a sort of uses in the current contemporary scenario. Maybe taking up a story from the past, from our Vedas or from the Puranas, and giving it a twitch with how it works in the modern era. As you said, rightly saying that giving up and taking an example of some personality or something that is happening in today's era, we can correlate both of the things together, and we can come up with those kind of contents in any form. It's not necessary that they should only be books, but they can be podcasts, they can be Instagram content, or they can be anything. But we need to do this. We need to keep ourselves updated, and we need to make it relevant, because if things don't stay relevant and if things don't evolve with time, it tends to become obsolete. And Lord Krishna also say that this about customs and traditions in the Bhagavad Gita, that customs and traditions should undergo modifications and should evolve with time, so that it's suitable for every contemporary period of time. Otherwise, the society, instead of taking our customs and traditions and the societal norms as the backbone and making progress, it tends to create a stagnation process in the entire society. So what you said is very rightly true, and at the same time I'd also endorse Rasikji's statements that of course there is some historical relevance to everything that has been written. Even in historians, even those historians who debates a lot that that the Mahabharata was not an incident, historical incident, but maybe just a mythological tale, even they tend to say this thing, that maybe Mahabharata was the core of Mahabharata, was the nucleus of the battle of the 5 kings. That was that is a recorded history. They endorse those kind of things. So yeah, these things have happened 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 years ago, and we cannot debate on whether these things are good, bad, or these things are true or false, or fantasy or reality. But what we can do, we can take forward the teachings that they come up with and use it for our own good and for the collective goodness of everyone.
The Purans, they just adding to what was already being said, Purans are said to be the 5th Vedas.
Right.
And as Mullick ji and Rasik ji have been trying to say, see, there are 7 types of commentaries on the Veds. One of them is Aitihasik, and it is the Aitihasik one which the Purans are. Besides, in their formatting, the way the stories and other things go, they serve the following purposes for the common people. They bring the Vedas or the Veds to the common people. So every Puran, if you see, will talk about sacrifices. We'll talk about the soul and the body, and the search for the supreme truth, and what is the supreme position. So depending on which Puran you're reading, either Brahma ka ya Vishnu ka ya Shiv ka, but these things will be part of the formatted discourse over there. So they connect with the contents of the Veds are brought forward in a very lucid way to people, especially through stories. And that is the bridging role that a Puran's role in the entire Vedic literature is. It's part of the so Shruti was Veds, and the other allied documents like the Upanishads or the Samhitas and other things. But the Smriti portion, that is where the Veds are a very important literature.
True. Puranas are the 5th Veda, as you rightly said.
Yes, I think so. Lalitha ma'am is quite quiet and she's not saying anything. Would you like to add anything, ma'am?
I know, they've explained everything so beautifully.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to listen to Rasik sir, specifically because when he explains it, you can understand each and everything. So now, since Lalitha ma'am was quiet, the next question I would ask you. The book is divided into 6 sections focusing on different concepts and phenomena of creations and evolutions of the universe, various avatars of Mahavishnu, Kali Yuga, etc. So can you tell us which section you found most interesting and why?
Without doubt, the section number 5, which deals with the emergence and existence of Sri Krishna, the Purana avatar of Mahavishnu. As everyone in this panel already knows, I am a staunch devotee of Sri Krishna, and so this section, being my favorite one, is a foregone conclusion. Seemaji's book, section 5, encapsulates the various events that took place during Sri Krishna's lifetime on earth in great detail. It was wonderful to read about his birth, his pleasurable pastimes with the gopis and gopas at Vrindavan, his killing of various asuras, including his Mamakans, and his establishing a separate regime at Dwarka for the safety of his Yadava clan, etc., etc. There's so many of them. Frankly speaking, it was a trip down nostalgia lane for me, because I had traveled to the same places. I had researched the same stories for my book on the Krishna tree, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that section the most. Though I liked all the other sections, they are giving me a lot of information. This section was the one which was a pleasurable journey, I would say. And how I wish I had got this book before I wrote mine. It would have made my work so much more easier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has come to my hands after 2 years.
What is the other panelists' favorite section, if you guys can tell me? Rasik sir or Pranab sir? Hello?
So while people are trying to get their mics on,
Yes.
you know, as a person who wrote the book, it's very difficult for me to say this was my favorite or that section was my favorite. But you know, I was very fascinated by two things which cut across the section, especially they are mostly found in section 1 and then also in section 6 and somewhere in between too. I was fascinated by these two sections because they tell you how the universe is created. And to me, I found all my answers over there, and it's a very scientific elaboration. I mean, so technical. I mean, in fact, I was very tempted to probably, you know, collaborate with somebody with a scientific background and, you know, the people who study particle science or, you know, those kind of things, and figure out that what is this ancient book trying to say? This is lakhs of years ago. It's actually not. See, people tell you Vedic age was so many thousand years and all. I'm doubting that after reading this Puran. It has to be several lakhs and lakhs of years ago. And, you know, so how the universe was created, and not just that, but how it will collapse. It will get actually it is reabsorbed.
Reabsorption, right?
Yeah, it will be a reabsorption. It's a beautiful explanation. It is fascinating, and it is also horrifying that, oh God, like this is how it will be. And, you know, just to imagine just water all around and darkness, and, you know, it can give you goosebumps and all the hair rising, you know, the scenarios. Also, I was very fascinated by all, because it cuts across 2 or 3 sections, but those passages which deal with the, you know, such a lucid, simple way, they've just demystified what it is like for a person to attempt, you know, meditating and try and reach an understanding of God. What is it finally? And, you know, that's where it strikes you that how powerful Indian philosophy is, how versatile and how profound, because there is no name, there is no shape, there is no God. Even God has been defined, but it's not this Vishnu shape. Why are they? Even that you understand immediately. Ki wo kyun chahiye, you know? But ultimately, the philosophy is about the philosophy is abstract. It's supreme intelligence, it's supreme power, supreme position, and, you know, through yogic steps and meditation, how you can very easily. When I was reading it, I said, so you can sit on a chair and do it. I mean, that was it, and in a hilarious way, through hilarious stories, they explain, you know, this whole concept about body being separate from soul, and how do you unite with the supreme being. Amazing way of explaining, where suddenly you find it's not religion. At the end of it, at least my feeling was, it's not religion, it's a philosophy. So
you know, Seema, on behalf of you know, Seema, on behalf of all the authors writing mythology fiction or mythological fantasy, I should thank you, because your this book can become a hand guide, or a reference to whatever we are writing. There will be so many questions answered. For example, I was working on my second book, and I came up with my own understanding and with my own theories and perspectives, that a theory of the universe creation and all. But now with your book out there, there'll be even more proper understanding of all these concepts, and we all authors can learn a lot, and this is really going to be helpful. So thank you for bringing up this book.
Yes, Seema, just to connect to this wonderful philosophy which is being given about the theory of creation, the reality of creation that is given. So we generally like from the current scientific perspective, which keeps changing, which keeps evolving, we say that it started from a big bang. But when you read the Puranas, you come to this understanding that it didn't start from a big bang. It started from a big brain, the brain of God. It's a intelligent creation, intelligent design, which is there behind everything. And it is not a creation by chance. It is a creation by glance. The glance of Mahavishnu is something which actually puts this entire creation into action. So it is so scientific the way it has been described, that how Lord Mahavishnu, when he's breathing out, all the universe is like small air bubbles. They are just floating out of his body, and when he's breathing in, all of them, they go within him. So it's that absorption. And now from our perspective, it is very difficult to understand that how could someone breathe something as big as a universe in and out. Now, if you ask the COVID-19 virus, if he started communicating, that what is his feeling when he's entering someone else? It is like entering the universe, entering Mahavishnu. So from that virus perspective, we are huge, and from Mahavishnu's perspective, we are not even a virus. Very
Absolutely.
And the way the 24 elements have been classified, we have this periodic table of 108 and or so elements. I don't know now how many are there. But what is the classification of the Vedas? It is a functional classification, not an elemental classification. Functional is, what do you need to function in this world? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, bus. Tumko jo lagta hai, that is within these 5 things. So if I am in a library, I could classify the books based on 2 considerations. Whether one is elemental classification, what is the color of the cover page? Blue colored cover page, red colored cover page, yellow colored cover page, or what is the quality of the paper? It's a matted paper or a glossy paper, or it's a bond paper. So that is one classification. But if you are a reader, that really doesn't help you, because it doesn't give meaning or sense. But when you look at it from the functional classification, then you have divisions in the library. These are books on mathematics. These are books on physics. These are books on astrophysics. So now when you want to read a book, you get to know, okay, this is what I need. So that's it, where it differs from the modern science perspective, because Vedas give a functional classification along with the elemental classification. So it's very scientific, and I think now the apartheid between science and spirituality should end. There has been an apartheid, so to speak, between science and spirituality, where in science conferences, religion and spirituality is taboo. You can't talk about those, otherwise you're superstitious. But now I think science should, try to synergize and see where we can collaborate and take the knowledge of matter and consciousness to the next level. So I think, as Antar said, this could be a handbook for the scientists as well.
Absolutely. Another thing I'd like to, it has just emerged in my mind right now. If we go in the reverse process, like, we talk about science and then we try to connect it with spirituality. But while I was writing my debut book, Chronicles of the Immortal Vishnu, certain questions popped up in my mind. Like, we see that all the gods and, warriors, the Maharathis and all, they would, use divine weapons, right? Through the conjuring of mantras. So, there has to be some sort of sound waves coming out of your throat, and then they must be mixing up with the elements in the ambience around you, and then it should be, doing something that would conjure the weapons. So that somehow, got me connected with, quantum physics somehow, and I started, getting intrigued by it. I'm a person, I pursued economics, and I choose humanities because I never liked science. But while I was writing my book, I developed an interest in science. So I totally agree with you that, these two things, scientific thinking or the scientific temperament, and along with the spiritual understanding, both should go hand in hand, and both are, kind of parallel things. If it's kept that way, that we view it as both as parallels, we can get more better understanding, not only for a better understanding of the things around us, we will also understand better about ourselves, because science may make us understand about everything that is around us, but science can never tell us the accurate things that is in us, within us, right? So both the things need to go parallelly and together.
Very well said, Antar. Actually, quantum physics, that was on my lips when you started. Okay. So actually, as to how matter behaves differently in different conditions.
Right.
Actually, that is again the matter of philosophy, and that is what our philosophies say. So it is not, you cannot define anything in a straight line.
Absolutely.
So that's right.
Seema ma'am, I have a suggestion and I have an idea right now. Considering the knowledge everyone has, including you, I feel we should pitch an idea to Sohail that you all should come up with a book together. So all of you all should write one book, and trust me, it's going to be more informative, more knowledgeable, and it's going to be more beautiful. What do you feel?
I think we can definitely think about this idea, and thank you for floating this, seeding it in our brains.
Yes, because the amount of knowledge you guys have and you all are speaking, trust me, I'm learning a lot of things, a lot of new things, to be very frank. And considering the time factor as well, let's jump into the open-end conversation where we all can ask Seema ma'am any questions, or vice versa, if Seema ma'am wants to ask any questions to anyone. So if we can start with Rasik sir. Sir, you're on mute.
Yeah. Maybe I would like to ask Seema ma'am that what was the seed, like for the audience to also appreciate and understand. What was that? Was there any incident or some sort of a long time, longing which was there, which triggered this entire effort, which took 10 years? So, what was it that started it all?
I think fate and accident, and I think Vishnupuran brought me to it. I would say I was brought to it. There was a series of things that happened, and I think I was brought to it. And by the time I was doing my first draft midway, I realized that, because we all, somebody said that, the difference, I think Rasikji, you only, that the difference between a human and an animal is why am I here and what is my purpose in life. So I think it all came together, but in a very accidental fashion. And yes, I would say that I always wanted to read the Purans. People like to read the Vedas and Upanishads and Mahabharata, Gita. Sure, we all do that. Maybe I have also, done it in my own little way by reading abridged versions. But I wanted to read the Purans always, and I don't know why. There is no answer to it. Why Puran? Why not start with the Rigved in depth? Matlab the Sanskrit verses. I'm not referring to all the abridged. I mean, those most of us, we do end up reading, I'm talking about Sanskrit padke, usko grasp karke, all that stuff. It was never the Vedas for me. It was always the Purans, and I have no answer for that. Meanwhile, a lot of other things happened, and I was accidentally brought into it. Incidentally, in 2012, there was another gentleman who is not from the publishing world, who was keen, whose desire was that India's scripture should be, translated and saved and, preserved, so that the heritage is preserved. With that vision, he had approached me, but things didn't work out. But Vishnupuran had already landed on my lap by that time. And I sat with this book and I I sort of was wondering kya karenge. But then when I read Sanskrit, a very funny thing happened. And what happened was I was transported back to my 10th and 9th standard. Those were the days when we had Sanskrit. I didn't choose it in the 11th and 12th because obviously I wanted to have some other subjects. So I went back to 9th and 10th standard, and amazingly, I don't know why, but Sanskrit came back to me. I cannot believe it because this would be a gap of 40 odd years. But Sanskrit came back to me, and then I knew, okay, chalo isko ab ye this thing will take me. I will not take this thing. This thing will take me. So that is my humble response to you, Rafiq.
Thank you. Very beautifully said that it was Vishnupuran who took you, not you who took Vishnupuran. And someone was asking me that, okay, we try to memorize so many verses, we are not able to memorize even simple verses. So what will happen, So I just spontaneously replied that even if you are not able to remember those shlokas are personified deities. They will remember you when you need them. So because these books, they are live, and it has happened to many people. There's documentations also that these personalities in these books, they come in people's dreams when they really need them, and they shake them, they help them, and they take them and forward in their journey. So yes, in very inconceivable ways, it happens. Thank you for sharing that.
And Rasik, very well said. Actually, my grandfather, so he was an authority on Kalidas. So he had done. He was gold medalist in MA Sanskrit from Calcutta University, and thereafter he was fully immersed in Kalidas. So he translated all the books, wrote books, did research, earned his doctorate. I mean, he got doctorate at the age of 80. I mean, actually, my father went to the Calcutta University and presented his works, and they said that, oh, how did it remain? I mean, you didn't even present it earlier. So he got a doctorate at the age of 80. So he was, throughout his life, he was immersed in Kalidas. So similarly, Seema ji got immersed in Vishnupuran. So this is, it happens when you have, when something, the passion when it arises, I mean, it takes you. Actually.
Yes, you're quite right. My life was this book for till this September, when I submitted and was editing it. Yes, at times it really got to me. I mean, I was like, I would ask myself, "Ye kahan tu? What are you doing?" But I said, no, let's.
And actually, you do it for the sake of doing it. I mean, not for publishing it, not for this thing. I mean, you just enjoy. You're just immersed in it. That is.
Actually, Pranab, this book has been rewritten 4 times before sending it to Locksley. So when I was doing the second and the third versions, literally rewriting, that's why it took so long also. I had been rejected by all by then. So you're right, I did it for the sake of doing it.
Right.
And all I would say is, let's finish it first. And we'll see, because I'm sure, I told myself, if there's so much hard work gone, somewhere there will be something for it, and that's how I just look forward.
Or the light at the end of the tunnel.
Anyone else would like to say something or give a message to the people
I
who
have
are
a
watching?
question, Seema ji. It's just curiosity, nothing else. Section 3. It is an in-depth narration of 3 Vedas, 4 Varnas and 4 ashrams and all. It has a lot of information on the conduct of an ideal grahast. It has information on how to perform Shraddh rituals and things like that. What thoughts went through your mind when you wrote this section? And how much do you feel people will read and believe and probably perform those rituals?
Yeah.
Nice question.
So if you notice, in India, we do have this cultural, I might add, culture A and culture B. As we know, in the South, people are still religiously, meticulously following this. In the East, I've noticed, I think it varies a lot from person to person. But as an author, while writing it, I saw a totally new light for the Varna ashram, because it's been abused by now. but I saw it in a very different light. I don't know whether I'll end up I don't want to sound little what I call is contradictory or those kind of things. But I found a lot of merit in it. Maybe I don't know if people are going to be shocked listening to this, but I see its validity somewhere, because billions of us are in this universe. We are not talented equally, and we all have to fill our stomachs. We all need livelihoods. All of us cannot become Zuckerbergs and Ambanis and Adanis, and all of us cannot be doing managers' job and supervisors, and and we need to live life. If somebody needs to go and do some work, there is a home which has to be looked after. There is a baby to be looked after. I don't know why. I saw it in a very different light, the Varna Ashram. As regards the Shraddha rituals and other things, of course, Vishnupuran is it is the Agni Puran and other Purans which deal far more detailed. But yeah, it dabbles with all the Shraddha rituals. One thing which really, that's one thing which has stayed with me. One particular place, it is mentioned. See how you can give. How do you pray to the departed for the soul's transition? So there is so much they talk. Okay, you feed so many Brahmins. You do this. You do this. You do this. Then finally the Pitras are saying that okay, you don't have that. You don't have the wherewithal. You're not well-to-do. Okay, then don't feed so many Brahmins. Can you just feed one? Okay, you don't even have that. Can you just touch this? Can you just do this? Finally, it comes down to, it says you have nothing. You really are not well off. Okay, just raise your hands up and just say loudly that all my ancestors, all my pitras, wherever you are, I'm eating this morsel. Will you please receive it? It is a beautiful, that's why I say it's not religion, it's a philosophy, that you don't need all these rigmaroles and rituals. It is में साफ लिखा है कि if you don't have the means, just raise your hands. It's like wishing and praying that my dear grandfather, whoever, whatever who has gone, my dear one, will you please, wherever, and it says, uska articulation is that wherever you are, will you please receive this water? Will you please receive? Will you please be happy? What more do you want when you miss loved ones who are gone? What else can you do? Say I'm soaked in gold and diamonds, but when I'm missing a loved one who's no more, what else do I want? I want this only, that wherever you are, you be happy. You receive this, because when it's so simple. When I'm eating food, that we miss that person. Till some years ago or some days ago, we were eating together. You want to eat, so then hey, would you please eat? As simple as that. That's the message I got.
Beautiful.
From that particular section.
Beautifully.
Just connecting to that ritual thing. So if we look at it the way you explained about the Shraddha, there is the spirit of Shraddha is gratitude and a sense of connection to them, a sense of gratitude, remembering them with gratitude. So the spirit of this ritual is gratitude, and if we just stick to the spirit, then ritual is just to assist to manifest that spirit into action, because rituals have their place to actually bring out the spirit in a very explicit form. But even if the ritual is not there, just the spirit is there, great, the work is done. So that's why the word spirit and the ritual, when they come together, it becomes spiritual. So that's the spirit of it. And regarding
that's the wow.
That's a great explanation.
Amazing. I never heard of that before. Wow.
That's why we should hear Rasikraman.
Absolutely.
This is whatever I've heard from wise souls like you. And regarding the caste system and varnashram, also I had a comment, since when I was 15, 16 years old, I was always wondering about this. And it was not until I read these scriptures myself that I came to a proper understanding of it. So what people talk about varnashram is, Chinese whisper. Kidhar se suna, kya suna, kidhar kisne bola, and then coming down the line, it's all morphed. So when you look at, Varnashram is not there now as of now in the society. What is there even in today's day and age is caste system. So the caste system is in terms of, so what we deride is, Brahmanas were given all respect, Kshatriyas were given respect, Shudras were exploited. So if you look at all of these Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, they are professions. They are not castes. They are various duties they have for the society. They are not castes. And every profession was respected for the contribution they would make to the society, and therefore the scriptures define that the Brahmanas are like head, the Kshatriyas are like arms, the Vaishya is like the stomach, and the Shudras are the leg. Now, any limb of the body, when it is not doing its duty, every other limb suffers. So it's a collective cooperation, collaboration that all these professions do for a healthy society. So this is the meaning of this, and no one competes that the leg says, no, I will do the task of the brain. So then वो बोलते हैं कि ये पहलवान है, इसकी अकल घुटने में. So everyone knows what they want, what they have to do, and everyone respects each other for what they do. That was the original Varnashram system. But if you look at the society even today, in India, if a child, he has to decide his career, the parents say, okay, you have 4 choices. You can become a doctor, an engineer, a CA, or a failure. Choose. So, which means that we don't respect the other professions. Now, we are authors. We have authors here. Now, if a child says, I want to pursue being an author, how many parents are going to give a go ahead? And an author is still, very much respected. But then there are other professions. Someone who is a sweeper on the street. Don't we need that person? Actually, we need them more than these gadgets, actually. So it's just that spirit of gratitude, the spirit of respect, when that is there, then even today's society, we can make it, we won't need the reservations, because everyone loves what they are doing. They are not doing which, they see as glamorous in the society. They see themselves, they study themselves, what they are made for, and they do that with gratitude for the society. So that is Varnashram. Whereas caste system, right now the society is practicing in its modern eulogized form is caste system. That we are making doctors, engineers, everyone wants reservation to become a doctor, an engineer, a CA, but
everyone runs for this in the lower caste, caste system. When you say everyone wants to be an OBC, everyone wants to be a scheduled caste so that they get admissions fast.
Because they don't respect what these other professions are. They just respect these 3 or 4. So, and there's a lot of mismatch, even because of those things. So actually it's time that all of us revisit our tradition and really read these books for what they define Varnashram as. Krishna defines Varnashram as Guna Karma Vibhagasha. It's not Janma Karma, it's not about Janma, it's not about birth, it's about Guna. Ikigai, people talk about Ikigai, that what is your purpose, passion, you bring all of that together into your profession. So now Ikigai is Varnashram, is basically you look at what you have been designed for. Einstein said that everyone is a genius, but if a fish wants to, judge its ability by climbing a tree, it will die thinking it is foolish. So everyone is made for a particular purpose. So that if we really read the scriptures for what their understanding is, it would really take the society to the next level.
I would just like to, add a few final words to Rasikji's, whatever you said now. We really and truly need to revisit our spiritual texts and all, because, things have been so misconstructed, so misinterpreted, and people don't discuss these things. When we talk about the Mahabharata, one of its main characters is Karna, right? And, through Karna's entire life story, what do we learn? That, that so many things that should not have happened because the society discarded him because of his caste thing. And now we need to accept it. That was the moral of Karna's story. But we don't even understand that even today. There's so many. Karna is such a character with huge fan following all over the world, and in India, there are so many people who love Karna, but they don't understand this fact that what can we learn from his lesson. They don't get it that
ancient system of knowledge, and they should read it for all the laughs and the jaw-dropping moments that it has in between. Even otherwise, they should read it for all the detailed, serious stuff which comes through very light-hearted stories. That's what I would say.
That's nice. So yes, we have come to the end of the book launch and the book discussion. Thank you everyone. Thank you to Seema ma'am, Lalitha ma'am, Rasik sir, Pranab sir, Antar sir, everyone. And don't forget, I have floated an idea. I will message Sohail right now. So y'all should consider that, because it's really going to be amazing. So thank you once again for coming, and hopefully we should meet soon for another book launch or another book discussion. Thank you from my side.
And congratulations again, Seema ma'am.
Congratulations,
Yes.
Congratulations, Seema ma'am.
Thank you everyone for coming. I'm so heartened and so touched.
Yes.
Thank
Wishing
you
you
once again.
great
I don't know
luck,
what to
Seema,
say.
and Desmond, you have been a wonderful host. The entire program was coordinated so well, and thank you for all those beautiful questions, and you are amazing. So
Thank
were
you.
everyone else.
Yeah.
It was a great pleasure to be a part of this panel and talking with you guys. Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you. So I'll
Really
pausing.
grateful to all the panelists.
Yes.
Really, it began with Samudra Manthan. So we churned a lot of things today,
Absolutely.
and I think the nectar has come out in the form of the wisdom, and everyone will benefit, ourselves included.
Yes, and we should be definitely, everyone should remain in touch. We have got common goals, common interests, and talking with each other, we'll learn so many things. So many new perspectives can be opened up, and it would be really great.
Obviously.
Yes.
Maha, are you writing anything new?
This question to Rasik sir or to
Seema ji.
Seema? Okay.
Are you writing anything?
Lalitha ji, at the moment I am contemplating what to do. All that I know is I'm very fond of non-fiction. So I sometimes tell myself, get out of your comfort zone, do a fiction. I practice fiction, but I guess I'm in one of those in-between times, not really made up my mind though. So yeah, it's a question of, because I'm by nature, I love getting deep into things. Something which will give me scope for research and all is what I like. But at the same time, I worked on a few short stories, and then I find it too alien for my liking. So I think I'm experimenting. I'm a little lost at the moment, to be very honest. But hopefully, I would love to come out with something interesting.